Hello everyone. In this session I'd like to show you how easy it is to set up the Velocity Management Console, deploy the Velocity software to some virtual machines, and really do everything that you would need to do in order to run a successful test of the software. Now, in order to do that, I have this machine at the top here, which I've zoomed up to make it nice and easy to see. And on here, we're going to be installing the Velocity Management Console. And I've got another couple of virtual machines here. This one on the left is running Windows Server 2008 R2. So our software can be installed on Windows Server 2008 R2 and later. So this is as far back as it goes for the current version of Velocity. And on the right over here, I have a virtual machine running Windows Server 2016. So the plan is I'm going to install the management console on this main server up here, on this main virtual machine, and then use that to deploy to these other two machines down below here. So let's go ahead and set up the console. Now you'll see that you'll be provided with a copy of the setup executable for the Velocity Management Console and this other file, which is a license file, and we'll need that a bit later on once we've installed the management console. So for now, let's go ahead and run the installer, and yeah, let's get it installed. So I'll double click on it, and it'll say, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Well, yes, I do. So I'll click that. It'll extract the MSI from the installer executable and then go ahead and install it. So let's hit next. Now, the first part of the dialog is asking for the username and password to open or access the Velocity Management Console. Now, you'll see that the username is always VMC admin, and it's always uppercase, and it is case sensitive, so you might want to make a note of the username and just make a note that it's all uppercase. The password can be anything you want, so I will type that in and retype it, and then we'll hit next. Now you're being asked for domain credentials to use. Now it says here this is for use for environment discovery. It's actually used for a little bit more than that. So I would recommend that the account credentials you give the management console to use are from an account that is a member of domain administrators. And the reason for that is you want to make sure that it has enough access rights or privileges to be able to do things like a WMI scan on these other virtual machines. It's got enough access rights to actually do a network push install and so on. So I'm going to enter my domain up here, which is visudnoc.local, and this is the domain I use in my lab environment, and the eagle-eyed amongst you will have already realized that visudnoc is actually conducive backwards. Did you spot that? So now I need to put in the username in the format domain/username. So I'm going to say visudnoc / and I'm going to use the administrator account just because it's nice and easy. And type in the password for the administrator account for the domain and hit next. Now this next page is to set up an Ldap filter so that you can limit the discovery to particular organizational units within your domain. This can be a little bit tricky if you're seeing the syntax for the first time. So I'm not going to set this up here, and I would suggest if you have a domain that has sort of tens of thousands of machine objects in it, then at this point I would probably recommend that you just stop and reach out to one of the conducive engineers to give you a bit of a hand with this. But if you have fewer machines than that, which is usually the case, you can actually just go ahead and hit the install button here. Okay, so just wait for the software to be installed, and that's it, it's installed. So I can hit finish to close the dialog off.